Well, a few years later, the perfidy that I was hiding behind my mask as a good submissive kid was unmasked at the home of some uncles from the paternal branch. It was my dad's mother, who surprised me as I cast lighted matches in a rabbit hutch that my uncles kept at the back of their cottage. Already with a fur and polka dots from Barnes, the rabbit stumbled, holed up in a corner, while I, absorbed and ecstatic, contemplated their helplessness. I cannot say that I enjoyed their terror. It was like my need, that of seeing them suffer. I was the executioner, they were the victims. It was life. One died a victim of many other monsters, to which he owned disowned. My grandmother, having given the alarm, suggested with a kind of wicked pleasure to my mother, "Beat him to death. Is all how you should educate him. It is your fault if you have a child who is so disrespectful of other people's property." However, no one scolded me harshly, not even my father. Indeed, it seems that everyone was shocked by my inexplicable behavior, so little suited to a judicious and very short heart like myself. The day died of shame is hardly worth bringing back. We all went home after the due apologies of my parents, and that disastrous episode was discussed again in the family only years later. Do you remember the scene of you as a child with the rabbits? Of course, you were weird even then. um, my grandmother recalled with irony when she happened to come back to the subject during one of our long Sunday afternoons. Obviously, the 6 or 7 rabbits all died of a broken heart in a few days after my father drank. In a certain sense, while spending the holidays with my grandparents in a village, didn't know in the country, didn't know me as much about didn't teach me as much about sacrifice as with those in the countryside. With the former, I had the opportunity to have a room for myself. I didn't have to go out to go to the bathroom. My shoes and socks didn't get dirty with mud and was more familiar with my grandfather. I took my name from him, and to this day I believe that in my whole family he was the only one who had more than one character trait in common with me. Compared to the coarseness and congenital harshness of character of my father and my grandmother, he was more calm, polite, and in a certain sense noble. It was said that his father had been abandoned by a Neapolitan nobleman in an orphanage, and that the nuns who took care of him had also changed his surname according to the very crazy fashions of those places. Even if I lost it too soon, my grandfather's I didn't take long. My grandfather didn't take long to share the passion for the Pullman trace and a fine humor, never too vulgar, as well as the confidence with which he judged the world and its fellow villagers. As a child, he often accompanied me on his works in the center of my little town. He spent the last few years segregated at home, always active and kind the, the sick despite the sick lungs that in the long run took away his voice first, then even in his last breath. Grandma made no secret of wanting to treat me as her own thing during my fortnight's stay under the roof. I tried to please her in all respects, and I didn't mind helping her with the cleaning, assisting her with the preparation of gargantuan meals, going down to the grocery store and commenting on her endless soap operas with her, as long as my grandfather was there to balance their meddling, I could did quite well with her too. You should have been born female. You aren't. Why aren't you a girl? Tell me why. It would have been easy for me to adopt and marry you. You would have let me find you a husband, huh? You would have lived me here with me, and I would have taken care of your children. She liked to repeat me almost to exhaustion. Eventually, I myself got used to these fantasies of hers. Yes, it's a shame. It's not a girl, Grandma. Yes, I would have lived with you always. Yes, I would have given you my life. Later, when a couple of years after the end of the middle school my grandfather passed away, the summer stays with my grandmother became unbearable for me. The grandmother demanded that I replace her husband, that I endure the fits of anger, and he had invincibly to insult me and make me wake my diversity. This had more than anything else in common with my father. The belief that to fortify me and make me a proper little man it was enough to insult me from morning to evening, command me like a mule, and force me to swallow all her contempt. One afternoon, when my grandmother demanded that I stay a week longer, that defended to live with her, then defended to live with her. I remember that my mother and my aunt were so present. I didn't know how to tell them that I wanted to go home. I would have preferred living in a closet 1,000 times over than putting up with that woman again in my life. My aunt was trying to help me get out of that thorny situation. Even tough it was decided by my grandmother that I should stay. My mother was in a hurry to leave, and when I burst into desperate tears, she confessed, according to her old distorted custom, that she didn't understand the reason for my discomfort. Do what you want, it's indifferent to me. If you want to stay, stay. If you want to go home with me, get a move on. At one point, my paternal grandmother must almost began to fault at my disobedience. The aunt was crying with me. My mother, bored or annoyed, was already coming down the stairs because my brothers were waiting for her at home. Finally, I was able to leave, and I never spent my holidays with any of my grandparents. Not even the latter asked me to stay with them anymore, as my mother would soon begin to spread the rumor of my subtle, disguised madness. Well, it's all for now. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching me.